Hello, beautiful souls. Today's episode is so good. And before we jump in, I have some exciting news to share. If you've ever wondered where you're blocking money, this is for you. I've created a free quiz to diagnose your money wounds so you can heal them and unblock yourself to receive more money. Just go to moneywoundsquiz.com and answer 6 quick questions to get your insanely accurate and potent results. And if you're loving my vibe and want to work one-on-one to call in more feminine energy wealth, I would love to hear from you. You can shoot me a DM on social media or go to emilywilcox.com to learn more. Hello and welcome back to the M Makes Money show. All right, I'm doing something a little different on the show today. It's kind of a hybrid episode because I'm doing February celebrations and stretches, which is a format that you guys are familiar with. But I'm also pairing it with a recent live stream that I did. So I've been trying to do some live streams more regularly, and I was talking about the 5 problems that come from lack of structure. And I announced something really cool, and it's time sensitive, but I think we're going to get this podcast out pretty quickly. And I would love for my podcast viewers to also get to participate in this. So make sure that you stay until the end. And there's an incredible opportunity to work with me for free. It's a $1,555 value for free. There is no limit on the number of people, but it will require just some time-sensitive action from you. So if that's not enough to get you excited and wanting to listen to the whole episode, I don't know what is. So let's talk about February. Okay. So February is Jeff and I's anniversary month. We actually got married the day before Valentine's Day, not because we're like super into Valentine's, but because it was President's Day weekend and we were getting married in Costa Rica. And so it made more sense for folks who were traveling and needed vacation days and all that good stuff. But because of that, it makes for just a full-on celebration of love because we've got our anniversary, we've got Valentine's Day, and we've got all the things. So some years we go big, some years we basically just exchange cards. And this year, I would say was on the bigger side of things. We went to a fancy restaurant, not on our anniversary itself, but there's this restaurant called Felix in Venice. And it's literally like they open up reservations, I think just like 1 week in advance, and you have to stay up until midnight in order to get reservations. Like it's a very difficult place to get into. But somehow Jeff was able to get us a reservation. So that's been on my list for years to go to that restaurant. And while we were there, oh my gosh, not only did we have a feast, but Jeff gave me the most incredible anniversary card. He like wrote a whole letter in it, just sharing with me, how proud he is of me and our journey and the ways that we've grown and evolved and how great it feels to be growing and evolving in parallel so that we still feel so close and connected. And, just how excited he is for our life and our life together and what we've built and what's on the horizon. And I had a hard time reading the whole thing because I immediately got so teary-eyed that I couldn't read the words through the tears, but it just felt like such a gift and one of those treasured things that you hold on to forever. And if you know me, I am not a hoarder of things. Like most of my kids' artwork ends up in the trash or the recycling bin. Most cards that I receive, I am so grateful for, and I receive the energetic transmission, and then I'm happy to toss the card. So I really don't hold on to a lot, but this was one of those things that I knew immediately, like, okay, holding on to this forever, going to reread this probably a million times. So we had a beautiful anniversary dinner. And then a few days later, we did a day date at the spa. So we booked this cool like day spa package. And of course they had like Valentine's specials, which was really fun. So we got to walk down this like rose petal pathway to this private like outdoor but covered, really cool jacuzzi for two. So we got to do a soak, and they had chocolate covered strawberries there for us, and like sparkling drinks and champagne flutes. And then we did side by side couples massages, and then we got mini facials. It was fantastic. In fact, we may have to go back again before our anniversary because it just was so fun. And there's something about doing it in the middle of the day while the kids are at school that almost makes it feel a little sneaky in a way that feels kind of fun too. So that was definitely a highlight. Jeff and Faye also had their first Valentine's Day dance. I mean, technically it wasn't on Valentine's Day and it was called a rose dance, but hello. It was for Valentine's, and it was so sweet to see both of them really excited about it and getting dressed up, and they went out to a special dinner together. Meanwhile, JJ and I were at home decorating Jeff's gigantic truck to look like a teal tiger because the following morning we had the softball opening day parade. So I put that on the celebrations list. The stretchy part of the parade is that it was like 40 degrees, windy, so cold. All of us were frozen solid to the point where Faye was threatening to not even play in her first softball game. So, we're also used to mild weather here in SoCal, and we've been having one heck of a winter. On the note of softball, in February, Faye had her first time pitching and she got a strikeout. And any of you who have ever watched 8U softball, which is probably like one person listening, know that it's actually hard to get a strikeout at this division. Like the girls are really just learning how to pitch. If they get strikes, it's a big deal. Often you'll see a lot of girls, like they almost look like they're bowling. Like their pitches are just so wild and they're just rolling. The ball's just rolling through the dirt or going way high and just nowhere near the strike zone. So to get strikes is a big deal, and to get a strike out is an even bigger deal. And for Faye, this was just such a culmination of really wanting it and working on it and pushing through tears and frustration and wanting to quit and not wanting to do it that Jeff and I also had to push through our own frustrations around. But it was really exciting to see her come out the other side and just do so well. And now she's totally in love with it. I will also say in February, I really fell back. Back in love is not correct. I fell in love for the first time with networking, genuine networking on LinkedIn. Never did I think those words would come out of my mouth. I have always cringed, actually, when people talked about networking. It always felt so extractive, manipulative, slimy. Like it's just, I don't know, people trying to force something. But I've made some connections on LinkedIn that have actually felt so genuine, and like we get to help each other. And it's just women really witnessing each other in their own zone of genius and collaborating. And it feels really, really good. It's something that I'm super excited about. The other thing to celebrate from February is that we have some plans in motion for me to exit our agency business. And that mostly feels really exciting. And honestly, just knowing that it's going to happen has freed up so much energetic space for me to say yes to more things in my business, knowing that I don't have the wild card of when Elevate will need more from me and how my calendar might change, and not wanting to feel overscheduled. I didn't realize how much I was holding back on my coaching business because of the unexpected with Elevate and just not knowing how many calls would end up getting added to my calendar in any given week. So that has felt super exciting. I will say, like on the stretchy side of things, I'm starting to notice like a little bit of sadness and a little bit of grief and loss, I guess, feeling about exiting Elevate as well. So just been observing that and allowing those emotions to flow through as well. I started doing some microdosing again in February and just really, really enjoyed the feeling of it. I'm a sporadic microdoser. I don't know that will change, but just enjoying feeling more creative and just like the mood enhancement of it, and knowing that there's neural reprogramming happening behind the scenes is a fun thing as well. So just being in communion and relationship with that plant medicine. The peer mastermind that I'm in got going again in February. Well, actually, we didn't start meeting again until now, March, but we did a cool circle that got us back to a place where we could figure out how to start meeting again. And it was a really cool format of just sharing sequentially until we got to a place of completion. I could probably do a whole episode on that, but it just felt so good to be in sisterhood and to be in circle and to see how much we all cared about it and how we were willing to fight for it and show up for it and reimagine it. It all was just really, really beautiful. We got 3 new agency clients in February. Whoop, whoop. We had a solid tax appointment with our CPA, and that just felt really good to know how supported we are and just on top of our shit so that those appointments don't feel scary and typically end up being either better than we expected or as expected. I also somehow in February stumbled across a stat in the back end systems of my coaching business that I gained 169 new email subscribers in February. Like, what in the actual? I don't have like a massive email list. It's probably around like 1,000 total. So we're talking, 17% influx all in 1 month. Like, I don't know how or why that happened. I took like a quick look to be like, okay, what did I do on like February 14th and 15th? But I'm really not sure what I posted. It could have been something on TikTok, but TikTok, it's like hard to figure out what date you posted things after you posted it. Or at least it's hard for me. Maybe somebody listening can tell me like, you just click on this thing and then you can see it. But nevertheless, I'm excited for it. I am celebrating it. Okay, some of the stretchy stuff from February. Jeff and I got in a fight after our tax appointment, which is kind of hilarious given the fact that the appointment actually went well. But I think sometimes, and this is what I want to say as someone who studies money wounds and money trauma and money healing, things can still get triggered. Our money wounds can still get triggered even when the money situation is okay or better than okay. So we had a good tax appointment and it still brought up the topic of money, and it still brought up, I think, kind of the comparison and the feeling of like, a year ago, where did we think we would be now and where are we actually at? And any of the ways that money was feeling stressful. So, we just had to get through it. And sometimes when you're talking about tough subjects, even though Jeff and I talk about money a lot, like it doesn't mean that we're immune from fighting or disagreeing or having emotions flare. And honestly, I'm proud of us. Like, if anyone were ever a fly on the wall in our quote unquote fights or disagreements, like we still are pretty respectful of each other. We don't say things that are intended to be really hurtful. We don't stay upset for a long time. Like, we're pretty good about processing through it and getting to a place where we both feel better. And nevertheless, it was not my favorite thing in February. So just keeping it real around here. Another stretch was just like trying to find the right Airbnb house. We're getting to this stage where we're getting excited about investing and finding a second property. And also, we understand the criteria that it needs to meet so that it truly is an investment that pays now and later. And of course, with inflation being high and interest rates being high, it's harder to find properties that will cash flow the way that we want them to now. The later money is easier to understand because obviously housing in Southern California is an appreciating asset. It's going to go up in value over time. I will say we have spent a lot of time looking at places and also just trusting that universe is on our side and that when the right place comes about, we will know it and we will be able to move on it. I also found some stretches for me in February were just navigating when Jeff was feeling stressed about the agency. He definitely had some moments in February that felt really tough and where he was feeling stressed out and just feeling a lot of pressure. And my old pattern is to want to be the rescuer, and his old pattern is to want to be rescued. And so it's something that we've worked on and we're getting better at. And it still can be hard for me to find the right balance of showing love and compassion, but not trying to step in and fix it. And I think it's particularly tricky when I do know what's going on in his business. So sometimes I try to ask myself, like, okay, if I wasn't involved in the agency at all, like if he just was at work and stressed, then how would I treat him as a loving wife? And like, what level of involvement would I have with this? And so it's a work in progress. And thankfully, things are feeling so much better at the time of this recording. But, as most entrepreneurs can attest to, it's not always just easy, breezy. Like there are stressful things behind the scenes. And of course, a lot of it is just triggers our fears and worries and anxieties. So it's not even necessarily that it's something tangible in the business that is going wrong as much as the fear of something happening can be triggered. February also was a really cold, rainy, windy weather month. And that was a little bit of a stretch. Like for the most part, I've been in gratitude for us getting the rain. But man, if you've seen anything on the news, like it has been an exceptionally wet winter to the point where California had been in a drought for 15 years and we are now out of the drought. So like mostly amen, praise be, thank you so much, weather gods. We are so grateful for the rain. And holy moly, if you're someone who, like me, finds that their mood is greatly enhanced by sunshine, having this much cold, rainy, wet, windy weather has been a little challenging, not gonna lie. Finances. So in February, the agency collected $89,898 cash, and my coaching business collected $14,473 cash. Something about it being 14,000 in the month of Valentine's, when Valentine's is on the 14th, like just seemed very apropos. So I'm super grateful receiving it all. I did not do the math on how much that adds up to, so we will not share total today. And now we will switch over to that little live stream training that I did on the 5 problems that are created by lack of structure and the free gift that you can claim. Hello, Emily June Wilcox here, money healer and business mentor. I am here today to talk about lack of structure and the 5 key problems that are created when we lack structure. And this actually isn't just true in business, but it's also true in our lives. So these principles touch really every aspect of our life and business, but lack of structure creates 5 key problems. So I'm going to talk to you about those. And at the end, I'm doing something that I've actually never done before in my business. So I'm going to be announcing a free way to work with me. It's a really valuable free gift. So you're going to want to pay attention and watch until the end. I kind of just decided this last minute, so you'll know when you hear it. But let's talk about structure. So If you've been tuning into what I've been talking about lately, I've been talking a lot about balancing masculine and feminine energy. And part of the reason I've been talking about that is because today was the first day of teaching Fempire live. And my Fempire process is about more than masculine and feminine energy, but it's certainly a part of it, because when we're embodying the feminine energy CEO, when we are adopting this new paradigm in business, we need to balance our masculine and feminine energy. Otherwise, we're either in overdoing, overthinking, or overgiving, or we are in go it alone mode, or we're the damsel in distress hoping that someone's going to save us. Like either way, we're out of balance. And in order to truly step into our power and our leadership and build our fempire, which yes, includes so much money and wealth coming to us, we really have to balance our masculine and feminine energy. So you've been hearing me talk a ton about that. And in April, I'm going to be teaching sacred structure. And so I wanted to start talking about structure. And structure is certainly part of the masculine energy, especially the divine masculine. And when we don't have structure in place, there are some major problemos in our business. So the first problem that lack of structure creates is stagnancy. Stagnancy. And often it really is the freeze trauma response, where it's like there are so many things swirling around. There's so much that we could be focused on, that we could be doing, and it feels like overwhelm. And then when we have a freeze trauma response, we end up in inaction. So because we don't have lack of structure, we get into this trauma response, we get into overwhelm, we get into inaction, and that results in stagnancy. We're not able to keep a consistent or steady momentum movement in our business. The second problem created by lack of structure is burnout. So on the other end of things, without structure, we end up doing too much and feeling a pressure to do all of the things all of the time. And then we're burnt out because of it. So in fight or flight trauma responses, the burnout is kind of that fight where it's like, I'm just going to go down swinging. I'm going to do all the things. And especially if you have an undefined root chakra in human design, you can really feel a pressure or an urgency to do all the things and to do them all at once. And you have trouble just measuring it out and keeping consistent motion in place for those things that you care about. Hey, Fabiola, thanks for joining. We are talking about lack of structure and the 5 big problems it creates. The third one is force and fatigue. So not honoring our energy cycles, not honoring our menstrual cycle, not honoring Mama Moon's cycle, just forcing ourselves to do the things even when it doesn't feel good, because we don't have structure in place to support us and to tell us what we could be doing when. I don't want to say should, because a key tenet of structure is that it is in service to our vision and in service to our desires. So don't get it twisted. It's not meant to be that we are forced to do the things that structure says. Structure is meant to support us. But when we don't have it, we don't honor our energy cycles. We're maybe not even aware of them. And we're just forcing ourselves in that hustle and grind and moving forward, regardless of how we feel. The fourth problem that lack of structure creates is mistakes. Mistakes, errors. Without structure, there's so much room for human error in our business. We have to do a process over and over again, but we forget a step. Or maybe it's a process that we don't have to do very often. And so we totally forget how to do it and we screw it up. Or an email gets missed, a Zoom link doesn't get added to a calendar invite. Like there's so many ways that not having structure can cause us to make mistakes. Hopefully, they're mistakes that are not a huge issue in our business, but I've seen many, many times being behind the scenes in hundreds of businesses, the vast majority of them 7 and 8 figure, and some 9-figure businesses as well, that not all mistakes are little. And unfortunately, even when it's a simple thing, it can cost so much money and so much time to fix. My husband was actually just telling me that the whole Southwest Airlines kind of crisis around the holidays, where so many people were stranded and they couldn't travel and they couldn't get a different flight and they had to cancel their holiday plans, or they had to drive across multiple states. When they actually got to the root cause of that, do you guys know what the root cause of this was? I'm so curious. I don't know if I'm late to the game on this story or not, but this to me is just wild. So the root cause of the Southwest Airlines flight debacle was a contracted employee, a contractor, deleting one line of code. So, and yes, not updating their computer software either. So because they're on archaic computer systems, like if you've ever looked at a stewardess, behind the counter, their computers look like they're running DOS. They look so old. And so, it's not like our normal user interface, but one line of code was deleted, and that resulted in, just catastrophic ramifications. So when we don't have good process in place, when we don't have structure, sacred structure in our business, it results in mistakes. So if you're just joining, we are talking about the lack of structure that creates these 5 big problems. And at the end of this, I'm going to share an exciting free gift as well. So just to recap where we're at so far, I thought I was live on LinkedIn and I just hit live, as it turns out. Number 1 is stagnancy. So lack of structure creates stagnancy. The freeze trauma response, clamming up, feeling overwhelmed, not being sure what to do, and therefore turning to inaction. Number 2 can be the opposite end of things, which is burnout. That fight trauma response of, I'm going to go down swinging. I'm going to do all of the things, feeling pressure to do all the things all the time. Especially when you have an undefined root chakra in human design, you can especially feel super pressured around deadlines and things that have to get done and how much time you have to do them. So without structure in place, you may go towards stagnancy or you may go towards burnout. Number 3, force and fatigue, not honoring your energy cycles, not honoring your menstrual cycle, the moon cycle, forcing yourself to do all the things, even when it doesn't feel good. That happens when there's no structure in place to give you the grace of what you can be doing and when you can be doing it. Number 4, mistakes, all the errors that are created in your business when you've got lack of structure. And number 5 is overworking. And this is one that surprises so many of my clients. They're like, wait, what? Lack of structure creates overworking. But what I see is that so many high achieving women that are such go-getters have a hard time turning it off. And so without some structure in place that helps define a role, what you're meant to be doing, when you're meant to be doing it, what enough looks like, you'll just keep going and going and going and going. And you can't turn off, or you don't feel like you can delegate. One of the reasons that leaders in business, but I work primarily with women, one of the reasons they feel like they can't delegate is because they don't have structure in place. And so who are they going to delegate to? everything is up here. And it would take them so much time and energy and effort to train someone else up on it that in their mind, it's like, let me just do it myself. So then they're overworking. They're not giving themselves the support that they need so that they can feel like the visionary and the creative in their business. So lack of structure creates these 5 big problems. Now, the good news is they're all so solvable and it's easier than you may think. And because structure in our business is always in service to our vision and our desires, we get to be really flexible on how much structure feels good to us. Again, if you know your human design, you will notice that there's 4 arrows up at the top of the body chart. And if they're all pointed right, or the more of them that are pointed right, the more you enjoy kind of like less structure and being more flowy and more of a feminine energy. The more that are pointed left, the more masculine energy, structure, routine you tend to enjoy. So everyone's balance is going to look different, and yet everyone needs structure in their life and their business so that they're not stuck, so that you're not stuck. You're not stuck in stagnancy or burnout or force or fatigue or mistakes or overworking, and that you get to feel like your business and all of these beautiful structures are in service to you and the life that you want to create. So it's all so very fixable. Now, if you missed the beginning of this live stream, I shared that I'm going to be offering up a free gift. And it's possible that you've heard me talk about sacred structure before. It was a paid masterclass that I ran last year. And I've been reimagining it and leaning into it for this year. And I, in my own business, have been leaning so much into sacred structure and what a gift it's been to me. And so naturally, I'm wanting to share that and just talk about how much freedom I've been able to create thanks to the sacred structure that I've put in place in my business. So if you've been in my world for a while, you know that when I run programs, the price typically escalates. So when we're an early bird, you might be able to jump in for a few $100s, maybe $555. But by the time the program is launching or is going live, we're talking, $1,555. And I have people that buy my programs at full price. So it's not a pricing strategy tactic where it always seems like it's on sale. It's like TJ Maxx pricing. People actually buy my programs at full price. Now, for whatever reason, I have been feeling really drawn to running this as a program that for a limited time you can join for free. It's not a free masterclass. It's an actual full-fledged program that you can be a part of, that you can participate in. It's going to be run next month in April. It'll probably be a hybrid of live and pre-recorded components. I'm still working out the details. Like, I really just got the impulse today to offer it for free for a very limited time. So I don't even have a link yet. So if you're watching this, or when you're watching it, and you're like, oh my gosh, I want in for free, just drop a comment that says, I'm in, or give me the link, or you can drop the little gift emoji, and I will circle back with you and get you the link as soon as it's created. So I don't want to put an exact timeline on this because I don't know how long it's going to take me to create the link. But I think this window of joining in for free is probably going to be limited to the next day, maybe day and a half, and then it'll be a paid program. So I'm going to be running it as a paid program. I'm going to be showing up and teaching it as a paid program. But if you want to slide in for free, if you want to feel what it feels like to be working with me inside of an actual paid program, drop a comment. I'm in, get me the link, drop a gift emoji, and we will get you that link so that you can come and experience what the gifts are inside of this program. Now, Sacred Structure is for you if you are someone who wants more time freedom, if you want to know how to turn off at the end of the day and trust that you've done enough, if you want to build systems and processes and hire the right people that are in service to your bigger vision for your business, if you want to leverage all of the different ways that you can be more efficient with your time, if you want to free up more of your mental bandwidth to focus more on things that feel like new and creative and less on the have to do's or the in the weeds parts of your business, then Sacred Structure is for you and you'll benefit a lot from this program. And also, if it doesn't resonate with you, then don't drop an emoji and don't come in, because it's not going to be a program for you if you don't kind of meet that description that I was just sharing. So again, Sacred Structure is going to be coming next month. You can get in now if you move fast for free. And I will be sharing over the next few weeks more about structure, how it has been such a gift to me in my business, how it's helped me build multiple businesses to the 7-figure plus level, how it's helped me build a multiple 6-figure coaching business, and how I'm leveraging it in my business this year to get even more time freedom and to get more mentally freed up to be more creative in my business as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. If we've never met before, if you've never been on a live stream with me, I'm Emily June Wilcox. I'm a money healer and business mentor. I work with primarily women entrepreneurs to heal their money wounds, to scale their business to 7 figures, and to walk the joyous path to millions. I have an incredible signature program called Money Wound Medicine that 111 right now incredible women are in that program, permanently healing their money wounds. And many of my programs are designed, again, to really help you scale your business to new levels and to do it in a way that feels good, that feels in service to your vision, that's balanced masculine, feminine energy, and that allows you to have so much fun and enjoy life while you're doing it. Okay, so for everyone listening to the podcast who wants to claim the free gift, we actually created a special link for you so you can grab it in the show notes and you can claim your free spot inside of Sacred Structure, which will be happening live in April 2023. This link is good for a limited time, so we are going to take it down within, let's call it a week of this show going live. So if you don't see it in the show notes, that just means that you missed this opportunity. But of course, there are plenty of ways to stay connected with me. You're tuning into a free resource now, and I'm sure there will be more in the future. I also invite you into any of my paid programs. Yes, they are an investment and they are so incredibly worth it. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. It is such a pleasure. I appreciate you more than you know. Sending you all my love, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. Before you go, I have something fun to share. Now, when you leave a review of the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, take a quick screenshot and send it to hi@emilywilcox.com. You'll be entered into a drawing to win a free one-on-one Voxer coaching day with me, and you help the show reach more new listeners. Such a win-win. I also invite you to follow me on Instagram at mmakesmoney and to jump into my free Telegram community, The Money Club, which is linked in the show notes. Until next time, I'm sending you all the magic money vibes.